I learned two names today for the first time. I never heard them before until I read them. Maria Ressa and Dmitry Muratov. Anyone know those names? Who are they? They won the Nobel Peace Prize this morning. Right? Maria Ressa and Dmitry Muratov were named this year's laureates of the Nobel Peace Prize. Anyone know what their profession is? They're journalists. They're journalists. I went and looked this morning or this afternoon at the list of Nobel laureates for the Peace Prize. A lot of different types of folks, a lot of governmental and political officials, some religious figures. Not too many journalists have been named the winner of the Nobel Peace Prize. But in some ways, it makes a lot of sense, especially if you come from the perspective of an American where we celebrate the Fourth Estate, where we have enshrined in our Constitution the need and the right to a free press. Journalists use their words to pursue tolerance and understanding and insight. They use it to protect us from the dangers of totalitarianism and the darkness of tyranny. Journalists, in the right context, might be all that keep the community and the society and the civilization going forward. And if you think about the two countries from which Maria Ressa and Dmitry Muratov hail, from the Philippines and from Russia, they are dangling by a thread in many ways. And what's amazing about journalists like the two of them is they do their work knowing that they are dangling by a thread, knowing that for some of them, their life and their livelihoods could be in danger, and they say it doesn't matter. Because the work of journalism, the work of promoting the freedom of our people and our human rights is more important than one person's life and one person's livelihood. They stand up and they speak out when so many others keep quiet and stand down. It's also ironic that they were named, these journalists, as the winners of the Nobel Peace Prize during this week when we read from Parshat Noach. And not because there's two of them and they're going two by two to the lectern to receive it in a couple of months. No, because of what's at the end of Parshat Noach, the story of the Tower of Babel. The story of the Tower of Babel is that the community came together to build a structure, a building up into the heavens. Now, there are a lot of misunderstandings about the story of the Tower of Babel. People believe they were trying to be like God. Not so much. They were trying to get near God. And what really concerned the Holy One, the rabbis teach us, is not the height of the tower. Because God knew that no matter how tall they built, how many bricks, how many levels, how many layers, they would never get anywhere near to actually be a threat to the Holy One. What really concerned God, the rabbis teach, is that the way they behaved in building the tower. They spoke, the Torah says, with one voice, which was why the response to the tower from the Holy One was to spread us to the corners of the earth and to mix up our language, libabel, to mix up and confuse our language, which is why we call it the Tower of Babel. And it's not just that they spoke a single language that had the Holy One concerned, but the rabbis teach is that they were all saying the same thing. They spoke with one voice. They spoke the party line. There was no dissent. There was no room for dissent. There was no allowing for dissent. It was the uniformity of their words that appeared to the Holy One like it was bordering on totalitarianism. That no one is allowed to speak out. That they were able to build an anonymity in their uniformity. Everyone was the same. Everyone wanted the same things. And if you didn't, you weren't allowed to have a voice, is what was happening during the building of the Tower of Babel. And that is why the Holy One realized that this undertaking of the people was dangerous. It was dangerous to promote the idea that we should all speak and think and write and hear the same words. Because God knows, and God has taught us, that to be a thriving community, what do we need? We need debate. We need discussion. We need contradiction, arguments. Hillel and Shammai, it was a horse, it was a mule. That has been the lesson of the Tower of Babel for our people ever since that time. The 2 by 2 that the animals went into the ark in the story of Noah reminds us that the way we should learn is in twos. I can't learn all by myself. I can't learn just by thinking the single party line. It's by talking with others, by hearing other ideas, by being challenged in my ideas that we become better. And so it is in celebration and in irony and a beautiful lesson that comes from the story of the Tower of Babel that on this day, Maria Ressa and Dmitry Muratov, who have spent their life committed to the idea that debate and discussion and new ideas and challenging the ideas that are believed to be the only ones allowed, ought to be celebrated, ought to be protected, ought to be given what many would argue is our world's most prestigious prize, the Nobel Peace Prize. And so I pray this evening as we enter into Shabbat that we can be inspired by their commitment to debate and discovery and discussion, speaking truth to power, and entering into every conversation with an open mind. Shabbat Shalom.